I only had just bought my new camera and lens when I got this alert. An Etihad A380 was coming almost directly over my house. This would be my first plane with the new setup, so of course, everything went perfectly. Well, almost perfectly. Over the next few days, I photographed several airliners flying close to 40,000 feet above my house. Some were easy to find, some were difficult to track, and one alert showed me an aircraft that almost certainly does not exist. This is what I learned during my first week taking photo of high-flying aircraft with the Sony 200 to 600 mm paired with the A7 V. Hi, I'm Ben Girouard. I've posted a few video and short on this channel before, but recently I decided to get back into photography properly. I was missing the creativity side, I was missing the challenge, and honestly I was missing the peace I get from going outside with the camera. So I bought a Sony A7 V and the Sony 200 to 600 mm lens. It is a very serious camera setup. I was clearly taking things a little less seriously. One of the first things I wanted to try was taking photo of a passenger plane flying high above my house in Quebec. I created a system that alerts me when an interesting aircraft is expected to pass nearby. It shows me the plane, the altitude, the direction, and about how close it should pass. The system is still being improved, so it does not always behave perfectly. Once I receive the alert, I usually have only a few minutes to grab the camera and get outside. When a plane is leaving a contrail, finding it is actually pretty easy. The 200 to 600 mm lens also helps a lot. I can zoom in to 200 mm, find the plane, and then zoom back out at 600 mm. The difficult part is keeping the plane in focus and in there. The plane is moving quickly and I am trying to follow it smoothly while holding a fairly heavy camera and lens, and God knows how much I can shake. The Sony A7 V and the 200 to 600 mm lens are not light. At 600 mm, every small movement looks much bigger through the viewfinder. A little shake can move the plane from the center of the frame to the edge. A large movement can make it disappear completely. So the real challenge is tracking the plane smoothly, keeping it inside the frame, and giving the autofocus enough time to stay locked in. My first aircraft with the new setup was the Etihad Airway A380. It was flying at about 39,250 feet. That is almost 12 kilometers above the ground. Even though the A380 is a massive passenger plane, from that distance it still looked tiny. The 4 contrail made it easier to find. I zoomed in at 200 mm, followed the trail, found the aircraft, and then moved back at 600 mm. Finding it was the easy part, tracking it was another story. And this was the result. An Etihad Airway A380 at 39,250 feet, taken handheld from the ground with the Sony 200 to 600 mm lens. I was honestly surprised by how much detail I managed to capture. You can clearly see the Etihad color underneath the aircraft. You can see all 4 engines and the size and shape of an A380. The 4 contrail also made the photograph much more dramatic. It is not the same photo you would get beside an airport, but this is exactly what made it exciting. One pass also showed me that the alert system still needs some work. The alert detail did not match the aircraft that actually appeared. It got me outside at the right time, but the plane was clearly an Emirates Boeing 777. So that one went straight into a list of things to fix. The too strong contrail made it easy to find, and the Emirates name was clearly visible underneath. The light was also better than on some of the other passes, so I managed to capture more color and detail. The alert may have been wrong, but at least I still got the photo. Of course, the week was not completely free of technical problem. One alert failed to load the correct aircraft photograph. Instead, it gave me this magnificent piece of aviation engineering. I am fairly confident this plane does not exist. Although, judging by the number of engine, it probably has an impressive fuel bill. The real plane still appeared when expected. It was a 4-engine aircraft flying above the ground. The alert image may have been questionable, but the real pass gave me another chance to practice finding, following, and photographing a large aircraft at cruising altitude. The final aircraft from this group was a United Airlines Boeing 777 at about 39,375 feet. Even from the altitude, the size of the 777 was noticeable. It filled more of the frame than the smaller aircraft and gave the autofocus a larger target to follow. But the weight of the camera and lens was starting to become noticeable. Holding the setup above me and trying to move smoothly was still difficult. This pass confirmed that the 200-600mm is more than capable of producing usable aircraft photo from the ground. After photographing these aircraft, I learned a few things. When a plane has a contrail, finding it is not difficult. Being able to zoom in to 200mm and then back at 600mm make the process much easier. The real challenge is movement. Tracking a fast aircraft smoothly with a heavy lens and camera takes practice. Every small shake becomes much more obvious at 600mm. Some photos were soft, some had the aircraft too close to the edge. In a few I lost focus, I even lost the aircraft completely. The air also makes a major difference. And I should know about it. I did a lot of astrophotography. A clear looking sky does not always mean the view through 12 kilometer of air will be sharp. But with every pass, tracking become a little easier. And by the end of the week, I had several photographs I was happy with. So, can you photograph airliner at 40,000 feet? Yes. The Sony 200-600mm paired with the A7 V make it easy to find the aircraft by zooming out and then moving back to 600mm. The hot pot is holding the setup, tracking smoothly, and keeping the plane inside the frame. This was only my first week. It was a little chaotic. Was definitely not perfect, but it was pretty good way to begin. I want to use this channel to share the photo, the mistake, and everything I learned along the way. And apparently, my ongoing battle with my cap or the lens cap. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.